Hey everybody, my name is Tony and this is the Pure Heart Project, and today the topic is Be a Light in the Dark. So we're in Matthew chapter 5. At this point, Jesus has just been baptized by John and he had just collected all of his disciples, and now he is on a mountain teaching. And all of these teachings are collected in a series called the Sermon on the Mount. So we're picking it up in Matthew 5, and this topic is believers are salt and light. Picks up in verse 13. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And I think this is so beautiful, and it makes sense because if you have Jesus in your heart and you're truly living for God, it will be so evident that people will be naturally just drawn to you. They'll be like, what's up with that guy? He's walking around, he's got a positivity about him. He's always cheerful, he's always happy. He just seems like he's in bliss, and people will want to be near you. And it's not because of anything that is of your doing and about you, really. But if you're walking around with God in your heart, you're walking around with love in your heart, because God is love. And I think it's so beautiful that it's laid out so simply, because in a world where we know we have despair, confusion, sin, people distance themselves from strangers. People distance themselves from their neighbors. But if you have God in your heart, you will be a light in the world, and people will just want to be near you, and it will be so clear that you are a follower of Christ. And I'd also like to turn to John. At this point, there is a woman who is caught in the act of adultery. And these Pharisees, they're a group of people that have really been testing Jesus lately. And so they bring him this woman because in the Old Testament, in the Old Covenant, it is written that anybody that commits adultery, which is sexual sin or cheating on her husband, these people should be stoned to death. So they're really trying to test Jesus, and hey, we found this woman here. Says here, this is what, Moses said, this is written, what we should do with her. What do you say? So let's pick it up there. An adulteress faces the light. And everyone went to his own house, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Now early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came to him and sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say? This, they said, testing him, and they might have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger, as though he did not hear. So he's acting like he can't hear them right now. and he's writing in the sand. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one. So he's saying, those without sin, throw the first stone. If you're without sin, throw a stone. And they can't do it. And they're all just leaving the scene one by one. They have nothing to say. They're all hypocrites. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had raised himself up and saw no one but the woman, he said to her, "Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?" He's saying, where are the people now that wanted to throw the stone? Where are they? They've all left. Where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you? She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." Then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life." And I love this because it is so evident that even today, this plays a part in our life, because we are not so forgiving, even today, even a couple thousand years later. If you know anybody that's ever done you wrong or committed a sin, how likely are you to hold a grudge? How likely are you to have resentment for that person? We see this every day. People will take something somebody said online, even 10 years ago, and hold it against them. Or somebody that had a past of sin or doing wrong to others. But Jesus is saying, if you have ever sinned, if you have ever done wrong, you really have no foot to stand on. You really have no right to judge others. Because in our own way, everybody is a hypocrite. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. So if you choose to follow Jesus and to ask him into your heart, you will have the light of life in your heart, and you will be a light for others. You will be like a house on a hill that has all the lights turned on that nobody can deny. So that's where I'm going to conclude for today. This conversation, I believe, is the heart of the Lord. So many times, Jesus says, "Judge not unless you like to be judged." And we'll get more into that later on. How it talks about don't point out the speck in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own eye. So before you judge anyone, look at your own heart and ask yourself, are you sinless? Are you perfect? And I think we all know the answer to that. So I appreciate you watching, and God bless.